Well, good morning and welcome to Awakening, Adventures in Awakening here in Blackstone, Virginia. Beautiful Monday, the center of the world, but then you too are at the center of the world. The title of this talk, excuse me, is Do the Impossible. We just finished the Olympics. I didn't watch this year. And I don't remember if I watched the last one. Anyway, it's all about the impossible, breaking records. Oh, that's impossible. How'd they do that? TikTok, all YouTubes are full of impossibles. Oh, how did he do that? How did he rescue that dog? Oh, that's impossible. How did he jump that? How did he... Avatars about the impossible. Jake Sully had to learn how to jump off a cliff. Oh, that's impossible. How to jump on a dragon. Oh, that's how to jump, how to, all the, it was all going beyond boundaries. Going beyond the beyond. Going beyond what you think is possible. Going beyond. Zen is all about that, basically. Zen is about going beyond. Going beyond impossible. That's impossible. But then somebody does it. How did you do that? I don't know. I didn't think about it. So let's meditate on this. Why is impossible impossible? Or why is impossible possible? We have to understand. We have to understand, please. At least I work with it constantly. Is understanding Catch-22. Movie was made twice. The first one is the best. I didn't see the second, I don't think. But Catch-22 is where yes is no and no is yes. So when you're in Catch-22, it's impossible to get out because whatever you do is the opposite. George Costanza made a skit in that, in Seinfeld. Everything he did was wrong, so he figured, I'll just do the opposite of what I think I should do. And so a lot of the Seinfeld skits are, even Kramer, going beyond empty. They're running on a tank of gas to see how far it'll go. Let's go further. That's impossible. Let's go further. So this whole idea of impossible, going beyond the impossible, is our DNA. The American DNA, go beyond the beyond. What's across the horizon? Go to the moon. That's impossible. Whoa, we did it. Impossible. So we need to meditate on impossible. Why is impossible impossible? Well, we have to look at Catch-22. And Catch-22 is about thinking. Thinking. The operating system of our consciousness is thinking. Like you got a computer. It might be a Mac or a PC. It's going to have an operating system. And the operating system is upgraded. You can take the operating system off the computer, but it won't work. It'll have a hard drive, but it won't work. You have to put an operating system on it. And the operating system of consciousness is thinking. But we don't understand thinking. The beginning of my journey, if you say there is a journey, was in my early 20s, and I remember it. The idea burst into my mind like fireworks. I'm not my thinking. And that was not a thought. You see, you can think you're not your thinking, but that's thinking. But the idea, the realization, the knowing that you're not your thinking is transformative. So who are you if you're not your thinking? I don't know. It's thinking says it's impossible not to be thinking. I'll think about not thinking. So we go round and around. Oh, I know, I can think about it. I'm not thinking because I can think about it. You see? So we have to kind of like get a grip on how this wheel of samsara, birth and death, life is suffering, sorrow and loss, dissatisfaction with everything. Where does that come from? It comes from thinking. Catch 22. You see, thinking is alive. It's energy. It's not static. It's not like something. It's moving. So any movement is going to be in a wave. And a wave has a high and a low, right? So thinking is a wave that has a high and a low. So if you think something is possible, it's going to carry with it the impossible. If you think something is high, it's going to carry with it the low, you see. So high and low, good and bad, up and down, in and out. Valuable, not valuable. All these pairs of opposites are a catch-22. 2, right? And they rotate, right? One high, now low. 1 minute I'm top of the world, next minute I'm bottom of the world. The higher I go, the lower I go. The higher I go, the lower I go, you see. So some people are like this. Some people are like this. We all know people, very dramatic. Oh my God, I've won I'm top of the world, top of the world. Oh, I'm so depressed. Changes like that, right? So this is the roller coaster of the mind. If you go to an amusement park, we love the roller coaster. The car comes up. You get on that roller coaster cart of thinking, and you're going to go for a ride. You can't get off until the roller coaster comes back to the dock and dumps you out, either sick or exhilarated. Right. But the point is, you can't get off of it once you get on. So once you get into the mind of thinking, you can't get off of it. It's a roller coaster. And it makes us nauseous. We realize that no matter what we do, it creates the opposite. Every great bug killer creates bugs that are immune to it. COVID. There's COVID, create a virus. Now the COVID's immune, mutated behind it. Whoa. You see, so every life is a wave. Whatever you do is going to be wrong. And that's the realization of Zen. And all these Zen cones are basically catch-22s. The master holds up a stick. So if you say this is a stick, I'm going to hit you 30 times with it. If you say it's not a stick, I'm going to hit you 30 times with it. Now, what is it? Or I'm going to hit you. Whoa. It's impossible to get out of that. So all the cones are induced catch-22s. They're induced so you can work with it and meditate on it and find a way to break out, you see. So the idea with Zen, Rinzai Zen, not the Soto Zen, but the Rinzai Zen, which is working with cones, is induced catch-22. So instead of having to work with the trauma of your life, you work with a cone. If you can figure out, if you can break through the cone, you can break through the trauma of your life because it's the same thing. So it's kind of like a play trauma where you pretend it's real, like a movie. You go to a movie and you suspend disbelief. If you didn't, you sit in a movie and say, this is a bunch of crap. If the movie's bad, you will. I can't even believe this thing, I'm going. But if it's a good movie, you suspend disbelief, and now you're riding in the movie like you're in a roller coaster. Wow! You see, in the roller coaster, it's pretend death. The amusement parks are pretend deaths. You know you're not going to die, but it feels like it. So you get to die without paying the consequences. And when you're close to death, what are you free of? Thinking. You're free from the catch-22. So you go on a roller coaster and you break out of the catch-22. Is this good or bad? It's neither. You're not thinking. The roller coaster shakes you out of thinking. And you feel energized. Why? Because your mind was not caught up in the catch-22 of this and that. For a moment, you had a respite. For a moment, you were free. You had a vacation. For a moment, your energy was free. You were free. Then you come back to the world and you go back into the catch-22 of the thinking system, you see. And pretty soon you're worn down and exhausted. You say, I need to go to the amusement park and ride a roller coaster. Or I need to go to a movie. You know, whatever. We have to pay for our release from the catch-22 of the operating system of our own mind. And there's the whole industry. Oh, you can get drugs, read a book, crossword puzzle, sports, war, everything. We do everything to get relief from the wheel of suffering, of sorrow and loss, of high and low, of the catch-22, of our own operating system, which we call consciousness. So consciousness is the operating system of catch-22. Whatever we think of has its own opposite. It comes with it. So if you think something, so the people who do the impossible, see, how'd you do that? Well, I didn't think about it. I didn't think about it. If you're trying to do the possible, it's going to be impossible. Because possible brings with it its opposite, you see. What's possible is impossible. You can't separate them. What's high is low. The low defines the high. High doesn't stand by itself. You see, there's no high. There's always a high. And we know it's high because it's got a low. We know it's up because there's a down. You see, there's no up walking around. There's a down, you see. Thinking says, positive, that's positive. Well, no, it's positive because negative goes with it. It's pleasure because pain goes with it. You see, the opposite. Everything is defined by its opposite. So so McConnell says, we're not Obama. So who are you? We're not Obama. What are you going to do? We're not going to do what Obama does. Or Biden. So the GOP believes that it is positive and has no negative. But the negative defines the West. So Obama defined McConnell. So anyway, you get the idea that nothing stands alone. Everything goes in a pair of opposites, like on Noah's Ark. Everything comes in pairs of opposites. The martini is my favorite metaphor because you got gin, you got vermouth. They're different. Put them together in a martini, you cannot separate them. So you put the opposites together in the mind, we think they're different, but they cannot be separated. So the illusion of the mind is that you can separate the pairs of opposites and just have good, no bad. One day everything will be good. One day everything will be perfect. One day will be win-win. That's what Trump promised. You'll be bored with winning. You'll win so much. No more losing. How did that work out? You see the idea? Thinking divides the pairs of opposites. If you are a pessimist, you think, everything is bad. If you're an optimist, everything is good. But each has its own opposite. If you think everything is good, sure enough, everything's going to be bad pretty soon. Then it's, oh no, I'm so depressed. You see. So anyway, pairs of opposites. Now, so how do you get out of it? Well, this is the whole practice of Zen and other traditions, transcendental. The transcendental way is the way to transcend the catch-22, to go beyond it, to break out, to do the impossible, you see. How did you do that? I don't know. I didn't think about it. YouTube and TikTok is full of impossibles. Oh my God, how did he do that? Ask him. He said, I don't know. The warrior gets a Medal of Honor. How did you save all those people? I don't know. I just did it. And he'll say, well, I'm kind of embarrassed for getting a medal because I really didn't do anything myself. I don't know how I did it. I just did it. You see? So I don't give me the medal. Give it to all the other guys. There's a certain embarrassment about being given a medal for doing the impossible because you have no idea how you did it. There is nobody thinking they're doing it. Oh, I'm doing the impossible. I'm doing the impossible. I'm going to get a medal. I'm going to get a medal. You see, so the catch-22 for me. Well, look at the movie. So the original one. I keep forgetting the name of the hero who's trying to get out of catch-22, which is the metaphorical island where yes is no and no is yes. It's in madness. Sanity is madness. So if sanity is madness, how do you get out? Whatever you do, get sucked back onto the wheel of samsara. You get sucked back in, you see. You think you're out, you're back in. So how does he get out? You get out, or the movie is a metaphor. So the movie ends with our hero making a mad act. He runs down to the water, and the next thing you see, we zoom out, and he's rowing across the vast ocean in a tiny, tiny, tiny little rubber raft. He's mad. He's mad. That's the metaphorical breakout. The metaphorical breakout is that you do a mad act. In Jake Sully in Avatar, he was caught in a catch-22. Didn't know if the sky people or the Navi was real. Which is real? I don't know. They're real. They're not real. They're real. They're not real. Wow, wow, wow. He was caught. He's in no man's land. Between the two trenches, you see, going around and around, depression and anxiety, he was lost. What did he do? He did a mad act. He jumped on the last shadow. He jumped on death. That's madness. You want to get out of death by jumping out of death, but he jumped on death. It's a mad act. It's impossible. It was impossible to ride death, the last shadow. He did it, you see. He jumped out of the catch-22 through a mad act that was impossible. He just did it. So the catch-22, if you sit in it, realizing that it's the impossible possible, wow, 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 the energy builds up in it that will explode you out. Like the cannon at the circus that shoots you across the room. Boom. The cannonball man. Whoa, boom. Oh, that's impossible. So the catch-22, if you sit in it without struggling to get out and just observe how it works, I want to know how this operating system works. With the computer, you got an operating system. It doesn't work right, you call the tech guy. The curious mind will say, I want to know how this operating system, I'm going to learn the code. I'm going to learn how this thing works by observing it. Oh, look at that, look at that, look at that. So he's not trying to get out, he's trying to observe it from the inside. He goes into it. If you want to know what a movie is, you go into it. You understand it from the inside, not sitting outside looking at it like that, like a critic. You become the movie. And you explore it from the inside. So when you're caught in a catch-22, where not everything you do is wrong, go into it and explore it and be curious about, oh, look how this works. If I do that, this works. Look at that. My whole world is a catch-22. My whole world is a wheel of samsara. The Spanish Inquisition is a metaphor for the wheel of samsara. They put you on a rack. You can't get off until you confess. But then they kill you. See? So anyway, thanks for dropping in. And I'm sure we'll be back with Catch-22. Do the impossible.